Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something critical for leading in a world that's always changing and full of surprises. These are the 5 skills for adaptive leadership. Let's just start with a reality check, right? I mean, look around you. From digital disruption and supply chain chaos to the huge global push for net zero, today's business challenges are way more complex and uncertain than they've ever been before.
So the real question for all of us is, are our old top-down leadership styles actually ready for this new reality? Are we trying to solve tomorrow's problems with yesterday's tools? It's a serious question.
Yeah, see, these aren't your simple technical issues with some clear, easy solution. No, these are what Professor Herminia Ibarra of London Business School calls adaptive challenges. Think about it. With a technical problem, you can just call in an expert to fix it. But an adaptive challenge? You can't just do that. It's not about one person having the answer. It really demands this fundamental shift in how everyone, and I mean everyone in the organization, thinks, learns, and works together.
So, if you want to build an organization that's truly disruption-proof, it all starts at the top. Leaders have to adapt first. And Professor Ibarra has laid out a whole new toolkit for this. 5 absolutely critical skills that help you lead when you just don't know what's coming next.
Okay, skill number 1. This is all about intentionally breaking out of our bubbles. The professional ones, the social ones. It's about building these diverse, cross-cutting networks that really push back on our own assumptions. And look, this isn't just some feel-good idea. It has a real measurable impact. There's this huge study of S&P 1500 CEOs, and it showed a direct, clear link between how diverse a leader's professional network was and how well their company actually performed, driving everything from innovation to M&A success. So how much of an impact are we talking about? Get this. The study found that a CEO with a highly diverse network added the equivalent of $81 million in market capitalization to a median-sized firm. I mean, wow, that's the power of perspective. But here's the catch, the hard part. Building these kinds of networks means fighting our own instincts. We are literally hardwired to stick with people who are just like us. So, true adaptive leadership means you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you've got all these diverse voices in the room. Great, but that's only half the battle, isn't it? How do you get them to actually say what they're thinking? And that brings us right to our second skill, creating true collaboration through psychological safety. To really get this, let's look at Google. They did this massive 2-year study. They called it Project Aristotle. And what they did was analyze 180 of their own teams to figure out, what's the secret sauce? What separates the amazing teams from the just okay one? And they found a bunch of things you'd probably expect, right? Like dependability, having clear goals. But the data showed that one characteristic was way more important than any other. It was the foundation for everything else. And here it is. The #1 predictor of team success at Google was psychological safety. It's that shared belief that you can take risks, ask dumb questions, and challenge the status quo without being afraid you'll be embarrassed or punished. That's the game changer. Creating that kind of safety, well, it requires leaders to totally change their own behavior. And that leads us directly to the third skill, making that huge shift from being a boss to being a coach. And this is a major mindset shift. You have to move from being a know-it-all, the expert who has all the answers, to becoming a learn-it-all, the leader who asks powerful questions and empowers their team to find the solutions themselves. Professor Ibarra's advice here is so direct. She says, if you know the answer already, don't put it as a question, because it's a statement. Think about that. Real coaching isn't about dressing up your commands as questions. It's about genuine curiosity and creating conversations that actually build the confidence and capability of your people. All right, the final 2 skills are really about scaling these behaviors across an entire organization. And you do this by shaping the company culture and forging genuine connections.
A perfect example of this in action is Microsoft. Under Satya Nadella, the company went through this massive cultural transformation. They moved away from a culture of internal competition and fighting for position to one that was focused on a growth mindset, a culture of experimentation, learning from failure, and just relentless curiosity.
And this wasn't just talk. It meant having the courage to destroy old systems.
For instance, they overhauled the fear-inducing quarterly business review process, which took people's focus off customers for weeks. They literally took a wrecking ball to these old habits to make way for more agile, customer-focused work.
The fifth and final skill is connecting. It's the interpersonal glue that builds the trust you need to lead people through ambiguity and constant change.
This skill starts with you asking yourself a very simple but really profound question. Why should anyone work for you? Seriously, why should they invest their energy and their trust in your leadership?
The answer isn't your title or your authority. It's your human qualities. In an age of disruption, empathy, authenticity, and even vulnerability are the critical tools for building the trust required to navigate the unknown.
So, this all boils down to an essential warning. The command and control leadership strategies that might have worked in the past are simply not enough for the adaptive challenges we all face today and tomorrow.
And that brings us to the final challenge. Mastering these 5 skills: building diverse networks, ensuring psychological safety, coaching your team, shaping the culture, and connecting authentically. That is the essential work of modern leadership. So the only question left is, which skill will you build first?